it's good to.
We're starting live. Sorry.
Oh my gosh.
Board games is what we're talking about. Board games. I'm not gonna shout. I am starting off this streaming with a little bit of singing, and over there, it's someone with a spark. It's the person known as Mark. We are going to talk about prices and other things. And this is the way that I try to find rhymes while I sing. And
Yes.
we're going to think about the way that things cost. This will be the maybe like a stone that's gathering no moss. Yeah.
Yes.
Pricing and board games is what we're talking about. Pricing and board games. I'm not gonna shout. Hey, good morning, everyone. And hello, Paul Grogan. It's lovely to see you. I hope that you're doing generally well. And David Dartwin, it's lovely to see you, as well as Alex. And so thank you everyone for joining us in.
Friends.
And I am Bez. This is bedtime in New Zealand. It's, I believe, 11 p.m., 10 a.m. UK time. And we are blethering about board games. So coming up today, we're talking about pricing structures with Mark Harris of Tabletopia. Now, we've had a few chats before. We've had our first chat was all about an introduction to Tabletopia, which you can go back and watch that, which was really good. And there was a really helpful guidance through how to set up a cards game, which was so helpful. And then having seen that and really gotten into it, whoa, this toggle here. So if you are someone who's a bit anxious about what to do, you can watch it and hopefully it leaves some of the anxiety and introduce you to what Tabletopia is. The second time we were together, we talked about legality and a little bit about ethics in general, which was out with the realms of Tabletopia, but we did dip into the fact that Tabletopia is, very mindful of making sure that it's the publishers who have the final games on Tabletopia that you can actually see. Now, today we're going to talk about another aspect of the platform. Mark Harris, of course, being the spokesperson for Tabletopia, I hope that we could have a discussion about pricing. Obviously, regarding Tabletopia itself, I'll chat a little bit about, how pricing affects me a little bit, not exact numbers, but I do know more exact numbers than I'm going to share for Yogi. And I'm also going to, I'll just share the exact numbers for my self-published stuff because I'm willing to do that. But bear in mind that my stuff comes from a different mindset, where my stuff, we'll get into that in a wee minute, and why things have to cost money, and why people have to be paid, because unfortunately people need money to live. And whilst, I would love for, the entire economic system to be totally but, this is the world that we live in. And so we need to think about, the way that things are. And so that is what is coming up today. And stupid money. And hello, let's talk about brilliant things. What are two things which are brilliant?
That's right. We have two brilliant things today. Bez, you had one in mind.
Yes, I want to just share cleanliness. I mean, I know that I still don't have so much of my room, but this cupboard, I'm just going to share it actually, so people can see. Okay. This used to be really disorganized. I'm kind of organized the top. You can see like the bottom couple of shelves I've still got to organize, and then I'm going to put things back in a more organized fashion. I'm quite chuffed. Oh, and I should have actually said, while I was tidying, I found all sorts of things that I got from Cannes, not 2020, but 2019.
Oh.
So yeah, just little pamphlets about
Oh,
Successor
cute.
and stuff like little comic. This is like a Star Wars comic that I
Whoa.
got in Montpellier
Wow.
after I was at Cannes, and it's all in French. Which oh, wait, have I got? Oh yeah, I'm actually going to show you. Just this is the kind of thing that you find while you're tidying,
Oh my
and
god.
I've got. Check this out.
What is that?
It's a unique drawing. Someone drew it for me.
Oh my gosh. Like on one of those sidewalk people, or
No, it's basically at Cannes, Festival International
oh,
Jeu. So they were
yeah.
promoting the Jungle Speed, which was the 2019 edition, which looks like this.
It's
So,
really cool.
you know, apparently if you draw stuff for me, and then you get a little photo, and that's me. And
Oh,
then
wow.
yeah, they drew a thing for me. And
That's
also,
adorable.
yeah, there's the little thing where, yeah, it's like, and I'm going to keep that. I've got a box of memories.
I have right here on this lamppost, I keep all my badges from every convention. So I also have a badge stash. It's sadly not been filled much this year or improved, but hopefully we'll work on that in the future.
Also, 2012 UK Games Expo,
Oh,
2013,
wow.
because I was a volunteer, I've got literally all the badges, Sunday, Saturday, weekend, volunteer, exhibitor for 2013. 2013 was my last time as a proper volunteer. Then 2014, I totally forgot about this, but 2014, I was technically an exhibitor because I won the competition.
Oh,
and,
nice.
Yeah, then 2015, you can see it looks exactly the same as 2014.
Oh, sure.
But yeah, I used to have a stash, a pile literally about this big, which I said that I was going to make a collage of at some point. And literally, I don't know how many hundred things. I am probably going to make that collage, like if I feel like it, and then chuck it all into the bin. Do that final thing.
Yeah. So you say that, and we've kept our Pandemic Legacy Season 1 box, and with all the components not intact, but in the box, because we're like, oh yeah, that was such a fun experience. We're gonna make a shadow box with this one day. It's still just sitting on a shelf. So I applaud you if you ever make that collage.
No, I'm going to, if I don't make it by tomorrow, I'm going to chuck it into the bin.
Well,
I've got some, things that I'm going to talk about on this channel probably in the next couple of weeks. I've got some fairly big life changes coming up in the next year. So I'm not ready to announce it. Pardon?
Who do you have on stream tomorrow?
I can't remember.
Because we need to hold you accountable, and we need to get them to make sure that you are actually making this collage.
Oh, I'll do the collage and I'll take a photo and then I'll put it on my Instagram.
Great. I look forward
you'll
to
see it on my Instagram.
Oh, beautiful.
And hello, yeah, Paul says Mark's shirt is hurting your eyes.
Oh no. I tried to wear
something the opposite. I love your shirts, Mark.
Thank you.
Don't change it.
I tried to wear something a little spooky, a little Halloweenish, because it is the season.
And hello, Andrew. It's lovely to have you. I just want to say, oh yeah, I totally get what you're saying, Paul. It's still unpacking from 12 years ago. It's
my gosh.
I've got this. These were boxes that I moved into a thing and then moved into somewhere else, and then now I need to finally be like, okay, I can only have so much stuff. So that's why in the near future, yesterday I got Chris to count most of my games. So this wasn't like all the games, because there are some games still in this room, but all the games in the living room, I think there's 291, except for the Chris Handy ones, like the little pop.
I mean, they're that big though.
Yeah, but I'm going to probably end up selling some manner about 100 or 200 games over the next few months. So that's
You're just overhauling. I'm really excited to hear what that's all about.
Yeah, I will probably be telling people before, not this Sunday, but next Sunday.
Okay.
Next Sunday, I'm going to start a weekly Bez review stuff where I will be reviewing stuff very quickly.
Oh,
and
wow.
That is like, yeah.
Are you competing with Sarah in the 1 minute board game market? Are you going to do like 50-second board games? Board games in 50 seconds. Board games in a 45 seconds.
No. I'm going to like do the games in as much time as I need. It's going to be part of my 10 a.m. live stream on the Sunday, which was like, hey, what day? Okay, I'll do it on Sunday. That's the day when Xate isn't here anyway. I'll just basically go through the games and be like, okay, this is the game. This is why I'm getting rid of it or not getting rid of it. This is the so it will be 3-hour review, not 3 minutes, says Xate. Oh, you cheeky. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and get through literally about 10 every week.
What?
And
oh my gosh.
So it will be like, okay, here's a bunch of reviews. And like, here's like, this is why I'm getting rid of it.
The worst thing with reviewing is when your opinion of the game is middling, because then you've got nothing to say about it. And you're like, yeah, it's good. That's fine.
I think this is why you kind of want to come to it with a view of, okay, this is something that I like about it. This is who might enjoy this game. And this is some design lesson that I learned. That's what I'm actually going to come to it from.
That's awesome.
Like with a kind of... because I am a designer, I'm looking at it from a slightly different vantage point and thinking, okay, yes, for example, getting a little bit ahead of myself, but one of the games that I played last night was Say What?
Say
and
What?
What I felt was like, for the judge, there's nothing to make the judge be honest, if you know what I mean. So there's nothing enforcing that. But not every game needs that, and that's like a big, because you need to be aware of, who's this game for, and in a way, it's a lot harder to reach.
Is it like an apples to apples kind of thing, or?
Okay, so yeah,
here we go. Review.
Okay,
exclusive.
So this is going to be the way that I review things. Look, Say What? It's a game where you've got these little cards which tell you things like hotels and cakes, and I honestly totally forgot that I had this game. I had never played it. I literally opened it last night. And it's a bit, people might notice, similar to the game that we played on Tuesday. And then the judge ranks these things from 1 to 5, and then everyone else guesses how the judge ranked those things, and basically gets a point for each thing that you guessed the same as the judge.
Well, that's kind of cool. I like that.
Yeah, it's fun.
But you're right. The judge could just completely not give everyone points by messing it up.
And then there's this little thing, and you don't go around the boards just to keep track of points. I would have preferred like points trackers, but this is definitely cheaper. And so that's the thing. I might keep it just because Mina enjoyed it so much, and so I could imagine me moving away. Maybe they might have they might want to continue playing it, so it might be a gift for them. I feel like it's a nice getting to know you game. If it's one of those games where if anyone takes the game too seriously and actually tries to win, the game is going to fall apart. But it's a reminder that not every game can necessarily be that way, I guess.
I think especially with party games, if you try and game it too much, it just kind of ruins the fun. I mean, it's like with Ultimate Werewolf, right? The perfect strategy for that game is just to no one say anything. Like, what's the fun in that?
I mean, I feel like this is why they brought in the extra rules. And werewolf, I don't know if you know werewolf with an H. WHERE wolf.
I don't
know this
know.
one.
No.
So this is like Ultimate Werewolf, but it's by, I think, Christian Zolli. I believe I'd need to double check, is the
Yeah.
designer. It's Italian. There was a group in London that was all over this werewolf,
Yeah.
and it's a little bit more mathematical, let's say, and it's a werewolf for people who maybe want to make sure that it goes the way it's meant to go.
Right. Interesting. I think there's a Kickstarter I'm really excited about. It looks like it's going to fulfill soon. It's called Stop the Train, and it's a hidden identity game. But every round, you're given information because you'll draft cards, and whatever cards you don't draft, you pass to the person on your left, and then everyone plays a card, and you know what 2 cards the person on your left had the option of, and so by knowing what card they didn't play, you suddenly have information. And so that affects every round because everyone is actively given information and has something to act on. Whereas with werewolf, I mean, yeah, like if you're the seer, you know who the werewolves are, but what do you do? Like, how do you push that information out? I really like, I'm really curious about that Kickstarter for when it arrives.
But it's definitely worth checking out this werewolf, which I kind of put down. It is indeed by Christian Zolli. I just had to check. Hello, Jess. It is lovely to see you. But in conclusion, we had a long tangent about all the delightful things that I found whilst cleaning my room. But and cleaning my room, just to clarify, I do only have like 1 meter squared and half a cupboard.
Sure.
But there is still, I've started, and that's the important bit.
Yes.
And anyway, cleanliness is a good thing. That's my brilliant thing. And just
cleanliness is a good thing. I've been forcing more recently, so I know that it's a good thing.
Also, we are drinking the cleanest of drinks.
Absolutely. Water. Pure water. I mean, mine's got bubbles in it, but I still think it's as clean as you'll get.
Now, and hello, J Foolsguard. Now, we had 2 brilliant things. So, Mark, what is your brilliant thing?
Okay, so for my brilliant thing, I'd like to talk to you about Tim Tams, but not just Tim Tams. So these are Tim Tams, the delicious biscuits filled with chocolate. But I want to actually talk about the Tim Tam Slam. Now, Bez, do you know what the Tim Tam Slam is?
I do not.
Okay.
Make you bigger so you can show everyone.
Right. So a Tim Tam, it's a nice big biscuit. It's got delicious things. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you love the shirt. It's got delicious chocolate inside and wafer and biscuit. But in Australia, we have this thing called the Tim Tam Slam, where what you do is you take a Tim Tam, you bite the corners off.
Just the corners.
Yeah, you bite the corners off. And then you get a nice beverage like tea or hot chocolate, and you use it as a straw. And then it gets all gooey on the inside. It melts in your mouth. And then you just shovel it down. And it's delicious. It's a really cool trick. And that way you get like this nice melted chocolate in your mouth. And it goes down with whatever beverage you have. It's delicious. I highly suggest it. Do you have Tim Tams in the UK?
No, we don't.
Oh, no.
Paul suggests that Tim Tams are quite similar to penguins. Are you familiar with penguins?
I'm not familiar with penguins.
So there used to be an advert, pick up a penguin, which does look very much like Tim Tam. So I'm sure there's slight differences in the flavor and whatnot, but
yeah. No, they do look very similar. Paul's absolutely right. In fact, when you Google penguins biscuit, one of the things that comes up is a photo of someone holding a pack of penguins and a pack of Tim Tams. So someone obviously noticed this difference before, this similarity before. And today I'm trying a limited edition flavor. This is the dark choc chili flavor. It's very good. Yeah, it's very exquisite, but I like it. You can't slam with a penguin.
Andrew suggests that it might not be identical, Paul. Andrew says that you can't slam with a penguin. And so maybe the penguin doesn't have, quite the
biscuit base?
Structural integrity that a Tim Tam does.
Interesting. Yeah, I think that would be annoying because you've got this thing that looks like a Tim Tam. Oh my God. Bez will tell you that Tim Tams are the same as board games too.
Yes, we did. So Jess and I spent a couple of hours talking about how everything is the same as board games. I'm sorry, Jess, you did not get your own thing, but you know what? If you come on a second time, because this is Mark's third appearance, so they get their own brilliant thing, and they asked very nicely.
I can't argue with Jess because, to be honest, like, did you ever see the Edible Games Cookbook by Jen Sandercock?
That's what I talked about. I talked about that on Tuesday. Anyway,
board games are food. Anyway.
Anyway, so despite what Elaine might say, but talking about timing, I do need to tell everyone that this is unfortunately absolutely has to be a shorter episode. So I'm going to wrap up at 75 minutes mark, and definitely absolute cutoff at 85 minutes.
Yes,
so
unfortunately.
Sorry about that, everyone. So today we are going to get into recent highlights, living life and seeing the sights, recent highlights, playing games and other delights. Okay, I'm going to be super quick. As well as say what? I also played Rhino Hero, which is an absolute delight.
For the first time?
No. Played it loads of times.
Okay. Yes, I was going to say.
It was, three of the people on the table had played it for the first time. I think there were four of us on the table. 3 people had never played it before. So, yay. Basically, I'm the person who shows off the board games. I'm the person with all the board games in the living room, and are like, hey, we don't even want to play charades. That's a bit too, or basically too tired for that.
Yeah.
There was like a thing called 3 little words, which is like charades, but you need to say 3 words. Anyway.
Oh, interesting.
It was a lovely dinner. It was lovely. Did cleaning. That was my day. Saw Chris. That was my highlights. What are some of your highlights? Let's be quick.
Okay, recent highlight, playing Pandemic Legacy Season 0, and oh my goodness, it's just the brilliant end to a wonderful trilogy. It's taken all the best elements of Seasons 1 and 2 of Pandemic, distilled them down into, it's taken all the good legacy elements of those games, but it's created a new gameplay flow that really just heightens the tension and also makes the strategy a lot more diverse. Without spoiling anything, it just has a lot of mechanics that it begins to introduce, which really allow the game to be divergent for everyone who will play it, and the strategy for everyone who plays it to be completely divergent. So that's really exciting to me. There is a deck in the game, and this isn't a spoiler because you're aware it's a campaign. There is a deck in the game that has certain story elements that you reveal as you go through, and they explicitly say in the rulebook you'll probably only see about a third of that deck in your playthrough. So actually, it's got quite a bit of divergence compared to the other Pandemic Legacies, which is really exciting. We just finished April. We've won all our games so far, but now that I've committed it on a stream verbally out loud, I probably jinxed myself, and we're going to lose horrifically in May.
So that is Pandemic Legacy Season 0.
Yeah, it's right here. Yes, this meaty game. It is so much fun. Yeah, we pre-ordered it as soon as it came in, and oh my gosh, so happy.
And other people have, Andrew January's published a game. They've got their mornings.
Congratulations.
Do you want to, I don't know, are you a VIP? Let me remember. I'm not looking on Twitch, sorry. But Andrew January, feel free to share a link if you want.
Now, Bez, have you played the video game Hades?
You've talked about it. I have not. Someone watched a video about Tagalas. Someone did a video playthrough review of Alex's game.
Awesome.
That was really cool.
That's really cool.
Jess is having their nails painted like a unicorn. Cool.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
Yes, absolutely. We can have you on 5 times, Jess. So let's move on.
Yes.
To the questionably quick question. Singular.
Yes. Ooh, singular. Oh my gosh.
So
this is new. Here we go.
Would you rather have a duck-sized Tim Tam or a Tim Tam flavored duck?
I would absolutely love it. Wait. Oh, Yeah, no. Give me the duck flavored Tim Tam. I want to see how that pans out. Maybe it'd go nice in like a Peking duck, like a hoisin sauce kind of deal. It'd be like chocolatey, but also duckish. I think that could go down well. No, give me the duck flavored Tim Tam, please.
No, it's not duck flavored Tim Tam. It's a
Oh,
duck
size?
sized.
Oh, well, that's just cute. Yeah, I'll take the duck sized Tim Tam.
So a duck sized Tim Tam or a Tim Tam
Huge.
flavored duck. So they're both the same size.
Okay.
Just that one's got just
Tim
the biscuits
Tam
as you know
flavored
it. The other one has the consistency and texture of a duck.
Interesting.
But maybe the duck can also live. You could also have the duck as a pet if you want.
Oh no, he'll melt. I don't want that responsibility. I don't want my ducky to melt. He's not living. I don't like that.
Okay, so which one are you going with?
I'm going with the Tim Tam flavored duck.
But you're eating it.
But I'm eating it. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm gonna harvest it for parts.
And that is Andrew January's website, so go and check that out. And let's move on to the main topic, and feel free to comment, ask questions from Like Follow. This is going to be possibly a big one, and we are talking about pricing structures, which I thought we'd basically talk about. Look, we've already established things cost money, we need to charge money, end of conversation. That could be it. In another sense, it's why do things cost the amounts they do? And you're not able to say necessarily, you said why things cost X rather than 2X. But it's going to be like a mixture. Again, capitalism, it's kind of what people are willing to pay versus what things cost. But
I
it's
mean,
really weird.
What can the market bear given how much you need to charge the market, right?
Yeah, and the truth of the matter is, look, your Tabletopia isn't a charity, like it's a business making thing. So shall I start by asking, where does the money go? What are some things that you need to spend money on?
So let's set the scene here and just make sure if people aren't aware. So Tabletopia, online board game platform where people can play their favorite board games, and we currently have 85% of the catalog on the website is free, and we also have premium games which are available to play on a subscription service, and that's a regular monthly subscription. Also, if you are a publisher or a designer, you can sign up for our workshop plan, which enables you to have games that are hosted on the website and allows you to add more features to those games. So you can see the pricing on the screen now. We've got the player plans and the designer plans. Now, Bez's question is, why do things, or where does the money go? So obviously, as a business, Tabletopia, is out to be a business and do business things. But I think some of the costs that may not be obvious to people. So first off, we've got the servers, which need to host the games. And by the way, just to point out, when the pandemic hit earlier in March, April, we had to not only double our servers, but we had to double the doubling of our servers, which is an exponential increase in both capacity and cost. We also have full-time staff, obviously myself. We have our marketing manager. We have the CEO. We have people in charge of the tech side of things, the web side of things, the games development side of things. And so we have a lot of staff, both full-time and casual, who will attend to those things. We also, Paul says the money mostly goes to Tim Tams for me. That is true, but that is a large chunk of our money, yes. No, we also have staff that can integrate the games on your behalf. So we pay to actually get those games put on the platform so that they're all a consistent level of quality. We also have our customer support. So we have dedicated support teams that are always standing by to answer people's questions, whether you're a player and a game is being buggy, or you're a designer and you need help getting your game actually put up there. Additionally,
and the interesting thing is that lots of this support goes to even the people who are paying nothing.
That's right. That's right. Yes. We have a priority queue for for subscription customers, but support's pretty good when there's not a convention on. We have additional people on staff during a convention, but when we don't have a high volume period, we're pretty good at answering everyone in a pretty timely manner. And the other thing is, so obviously the server costs to host the games. We also have, because we are available on the web through the Steam application, iOS, and Android, we're actually maintaining 4 different versions of Tabletopia. So there's dev work not only for a web version, there's also an app version, an Android app version, and an iOS version. So a lot of that maintenance does require different people with different expertise. Additionally, Tabletopia does B2B, business to business work and educational outreach. So it's not on the website, but we do a lot of business games, which are designed specifically for corporations for team building or training, and also educational games for schools or not-for-profits. So we also have staff on hand available.
The business to business stuff, though, isn't that
Yeah.
more of a? Don't you get extra revenue from that?
We do, yeah, but it obviously costs revenue to have someone full-time managing that.
I mean, it seems like it would be almost from a different bucket conceptually, if you know what I mean. I mean, maybe I'm.
I mean, it's all of it is the umbrella of Tabletopia, the company. You know? Yeah,
of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the educational stuff is that all paid stuff, or is there kind of work? Because I didn't know about this. Is there stuff that where you actually give discounts or special deals to educators?
Absolutely. We have educational program. We have educational discounts available. We also have worked with educators before to create custom games specifically tailored around their lesson plans. And so, I mean, that is you are right that it is a separate sort of pillar of what Tabletopia does, but it is all part of the structure of things that require money in order to maintain. We also have a graphic designer who is making things on hand. We also, we have a lot of software in the back end. Like we have so help.tabletopia.com is actually built on a different infrastructure to tabletopia.com. So our help database is a separate cost as well that we maintain. And so there are a lot of hidden things that you wouldn't expect cost money, but all of it contributes to making everything churn in the background.
For sure. And as someone who had Kitty Cataclysm properly accepted, it's like, puts up screenshots, and then someone else took a screenshot which was a wee bit nicer. And so there's that little effort to help the publishers make it nicer, and it feels like you're trying to work with people to puts a little bit of focus on these things. I do want to very quickly say good morning, although it's evening for Mark, but hello to Alan, and Aquasulis is asking if you are hiring or if there's any job opportunities there. And
not currently that I'm aware of. I think in the build up to Spiel, we did have a few more. Oh gosh, where did everyone go? You can see me, but there we are. In the lead up to Spiel, we did have some more staff come on as freelancers to help get the games made ready in time for Spiel, but that probably won't kick around for another year or so, unfortunately. Right now, I'm not hiring. And you're right, Bez, that the connection to the industry itself is very important to us. So, I mean, even from the start, if you go back to the original Kickstarter campaign in 2015, you'll see that they partnered with Mayfair Games. They partnered with Stonemaier Games, and they really wanted to connect with the industry itself and actually get games from the publishers directly and make sure that the games are officially representative of what publishers want their games to be. And since I came onto Tabletopia, I've consistently worked to develop relationships with like publishers, designers, content creators, and just the sort of overall greater tabletop community. And so, because of this, we've been able to improve the overall quality of the service in line with what everyone actually needs, which is going to be a lot of our big focus for the next part of the year now that digital con season has wound down. So our big focus for the earlier half of the year was site stability and actually getting games onto the platform for Gen Con, for Spiel, for Origins got cancelled. Virtual Gaming Con. The only other con we'll be supporting this year that I'm aware of currently is BGG at Home, which will be in a couple of weeks, actually, like 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I think just go ahead. Sorry.
And with these things, you kind of, when there's a convention, you give away plans to people who are like, okay, for this short period of time, you have the best plan. You can play all the premium games, which normally you might need a special plan to play. You can have multiple games going on as a player. And it leads me to the sad requirements of marketing in some ways, which is a weird one, because like I did want to talk a little bit about my own stuff to make a comparison.
Sure.
To say, yes, look, you need to have a price increase. I think that the original In a Bind, I'm just going to share this, cost me about £2.80 to make. I sold it for £9. Now, if you know your multiplication things, this is actually less than normal, because normally there's a 5 times multiplier. That means that when you give it to, for example, a shop will buy it for 50% of RRP. A distributor will normally buy it for about 40% of RRP. And so you want to have something where if you're not able to get it to the distributor at less than 40% RRP, you'll actually be losing money, because you've also got to think occasionally something will be damaged. And you do have to use some of your copies for that marketing, because how are people going to find out about it?
Of course.
And that's why, for me, I gave away a lot of copies of all my games. And I would say, with Wibble++, the original, I have this one of the decks just in front of me. I went with a different printer. This is actually exactly the same specs pretty much as In a Bind, but instead of 280, it cost me 190, something like that, I want to say. And I sold it for 12 quid. Now, how do I justify that price? Because it's not just about the materials. It's also about the work that goes into it. Because this is not just one game. There's like 5 games just in the box. And I have this commitment to make a new headline game once every year, and to put the work into doing this. And like I am, even though I'm a little bit behind with where I'd like to be with the competition this year, you know, playing all these things and rewriting the rules and doing that development and seeing which of these games are the best, that does take real time and effort. And so this like represented, in my opinion, like the best value that anyone's ever going to get, frankly. Until I come up with like the little pocket mini version one day, which will be like maybe in 5 years' time, there'll be like a tiny little. But anyway, the point. So that had a 6 times multiplier. You can do the maths. Then with the deluxe version, I think that was 370 going to 1750. It was a slightly less of a multiplier, but so also about the actual cost that you get with a game. Obviously, you need, and people forget that for me, because I wasn't spending any money, you know, doing big advertising, that's why I've got to give away like 100 copies of the games. Well, that I didn't have to, but that's why I chose to give away basically 100 copies of In a Bind at UK Games Expo to chosen people, to like other exhibitors, trading for their games, getting that word out there, running competitions, basically giving them away at competitions, being like, yeah, I'm going to give away this thing if you win the 2 p.m. tournament, and then you'll enjoy that. And at this moment, Yogi, I'm not going to say the exact numbers because Jigamic would prefer me not to, but obviously there's X pounds that I know it costs them to print it. I'm not going to say anything more publicly, but they do it for a bit more, that they sell it to distributors. They sell it to me for the same price as they sell it to distributor, and I agree to sell it to shops or the public at the same price as the distributor selling it to the shops, but kind of stay out of the distributor's way, and you know, sell it to the public at that same price. And if people buy it from me, sure, you get currently a cat. You might get some picture of a cat on the envelope, but I'm basically staying out of the shop's way. I really want people, and that's why Jigamic spends lots of money. I mean, there was a picture that I think I shared recently where they had massive stands at Essen with like big display units, and at Cannes they had an actual, it was like a boxing ring or a wrestling ring. It was like an actual thing. Did you see that?
I haven't seen that. Have you seen the exploding kittens vending machine, except it's run by humans?
Yes.
Yeah.
And
it's ridiculous.
Sure. So my marketing cost for In a Bind, let's assume that I gave away 100 copies. You could say that it was £2.80 times 100, so 280, which isn't that much. But also going to conventions, this is a cost. So like when I was at UK Games Expo or I go to Essen, it costs me money. But I go to Essen and then I've sold 200 copies of my game. That's really good to my mind. Even if I come away from it and I'm a little bit, I've spent a bit more than I otherwise, then, you know, it's hopefully going to lead to something more. Do you know what I mean? More people will have heard of me. Now,
you're investing in you, the designer. You're investing in yourself as a brand, essentially.
And this marketing cost is a requirement, which is why there has to be the cost. But it is quite an unseemly thing to say, yes, you are paying for the marketing. But would you say that this is just a requirement of the world, that people have to pay for the marketing?
I mean, absolutely. I think marketing is just a requirement, because you can have the best product in the world, but if no one's heard about it, I mean, the most easy thing for anyone in this industry to see is go look at any Kickstarter. And some people have amazing games that just don't get funded because no one's heard about them. They didn't go to the press. They didn't give out 5 review copies. They didn't get a Dice Tower preview. But then they didn't spend money on the Facebook ads. They didn't spend money on the Instagram ads. They haven't been engaging with the community for 2 years. And, you've had plenty of people on this show talking about marketing and talking about getting their game seen. But the holistic answer to that is that, yeah, absolutely, marketing is a very essential part of getting your product out there. And to me, it's sort of not even a necessary evil, but it's a necessity in that, in a very blunt way, like, people just need to know about your thing. And that's why you have people like Paul who will cover your game. Or that's why you have people like Tom Vassell who inform people whether they should buy a game, There's so many things out there. People have a very limited amount of time in order to pause.
It's a weird one. Let me just kind of make the point. That's obviously Paul's doing a very different thing, where Paul's doing a how to play, which is kind of definitely offering a service, which is making people easier to get into. Like the Manhattan Project, for example. That's a game that I could imagine Paul doing a how to play for. I don't know if Paul did one for that particular game, but having a review where it's an opinion, that's a completely different matter. But let's not get into that whole money for opinions thing, because we do have limited time. Let's go into the subscription versus the one-off payments.
Sure, absolutely. So a big comparison that gets made with us, and rightfully so, as Tabletopia, is against, say, a company like Tabletop Simulator. So Tabletop Simulator is available for purchase on Steam, whereas we are available for free, but we offer a subscription service that lets people play the premium catalog. Historically, subscription services such as Netflix, Spotify have been able to substantially increase their user bases by offering freemium or trial models. And so this in turn for us means you have more people to play with, and that the support team is able to take on more feedback and improve the experience. So I think for us, we think the ability to play things in a very accessible way is important for us. With Tabletop Simulator, and the same with Board Game Arena, actually. They also have a premium pro service that's available. So they follow a similar model where you pay a monthly subscription fee if you want to have additional benefits on your account. So, for example, one benefit that
just to clarify, I know Board Game Arena has this premium, but are you saying that Tabletop Simulator also has a optional subscription model?
No, sorry. I was saying Board Game Arena has one as well.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Just to clarify.
Absolutely. And so, and I think one of the big distinctions is that, and I'm making a lot of assumptions here because I don't know the inner workings of a different company. But my assumption would be that a product like Tabletop Simulator has less overhead than us, and so has no need to maintain as many consistent costs as say Tabletopia or Board Game Arena. So like I said, we have a support team always on hand. We have we're constantly reaching out to publishers. I mean, what a day in my life looks like is reaching out to publishers and doing social media and making sure that I'm engaging with the community and getting more games on our platform and making sure publishers are happy with their upcoming releases. I actually worked with Cosmos for like 3 months, 2.5 months before Spiel to get Anno 1800 ready in time for Spiel so that it was on our platform. And that had a lot of inner workings behind it because that's actually a licensed product, which is licensed from Ubisoft because it's based on the video game. So the reason it took 2.5 months of back and forth is because every time we'd send a revision to Cosmos, they'd then have to pass it on to Ubisoft, who'd then have to tell Cosmos we want these changes, who'd then have to tell us we want these changes, then we have to implement those changes, and back and forth, up and down the line. So there's a lot of behind-the-scenes work that goes into doing these official versions of games and making sure that the platform has these quality games on it. And I think we're better for it. And the other thing is, say, Tabletop Simulator, a lot of their infrastructure would be hosted on the Steam Workshop servers. And so you're actually just downloading games from Steam, really, not from their own personal servers, which would obviously absorb a lot of the cost there. The fact that we're available on the web, on the mobile, means that we do need to have our own dedicated servers.
Yeah, that makes lots of sense. And you're trying to make it ideally more inclusive if possible. Hello, Michael. It's lovely to see you.
Hi, Michael.
And there is a slight completely orthogonal discussion going on in chat about what the top 10 or even top 100 companies would be. I know that I heard a statement by Mark Rosewater where they saw like a list of the top 10. This was before Magic the Gathering was properly digital. They saw a list of the top 10 games, and there was like 9 video games, and Magic the Gathering was in there. And that's just Magic the Gathering. That's not Hasbro. That's Magic the Gathering. So if it's companies, that would be a completely different matter. I would posit that, frankly, Paul Lamond or Gibson's Games, I don't know if you're familiar with these like very mass market companies in the UK only, but still, you know, at the scale where they want to sell 100,000 units or forget about it. And I'm going to guess that in terms of turnover, they might be higher. Where would you position Tabletopia in terms of ranking everyone?
I very much doubt that we are up there with the Hasbros and the Asmodees and the
but would you think that not with Z-Man, which is a tiny subsidiary of Asmodee, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I would highly doubt we have the turnover they do.
How about?
I mean, this started as a Kickstarter 5 years ago, you know, so it was built grassroots, and it's still very grassroots. I mean, you look at those companies; they have a roster of staff. We only have 5 or 6 full-timers, and the rest are sort of freelancers who help us when the workload gets a bit busier.
Like, it's almost unavoidable at this point to. I'm sorry for comparing you to Tabletop Simulator. But look, Berserk Games, video games company, made that, and I think it's worth noting that video games companies do quite often have a much bigger turnover. They are going to come from a place of having more stuff on hand, but and it's not to say, okay, what's good about Tabletop Simulator, what's good about Tabletopia, but I think there's the question of, look, we've got certain attributes we had coming from a big company. Like, it's the difference between Yogi and In a Bind, frankly. I mean, look, would you say that I don't know, like, the level of skill. Would you say that it is that kind of difference where it's comparable to a big French publisher versus a single person doing it on their own, like a big video game company, Berserk, versus Tabletopia starting up on Kickstarter?
Just to follow up with that, I don't know the internal structure of Berserk, but on LinkedIn they only have 3 employees.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So. It's possible they have more that aren't on LinkedIn, but that's just something I found interesting. But anyway, because I think Berserk was an indie company that started in 2014, so they're just like a year behind us, really, actually. And I think, I don't know if the original intention was all the mods. I think initially they just wanted a physics engine you could just throw chess pieces at, to be honest. but it sort of grew from there, and that's really cool for them. There's others on the market now. There's Tabletop Playground is a new one that just begun. Yeah, and so I think there's definitely room for competitors. I'm not sure of their pricing structure or how they are structured, but I know that there are other people trying to innovate and do things, and so we need to keep doing that and push forward. And I think that's the good thing about competition.
Sure. And J Guard says, of course, Tabletopia is not a publisher. It is completely orthogonal to the whole thing.
Yes.
And by Andrew, lovely to have you.
Bye.
I think, yeah, this is kind of true in some ways. Like any company with more than 2 permanent staff is quite big for board games, because anyone who's big enough to be bought by Asmodee was fairly big. But take away Asmodee and Hasbro, and what else are you?
If there's no Asmodee and Hasbro, what industry is left?
I mean, for sure, you do have Gibson's, Paul Lemond,
Cosmos.
Cosmos is pretty big.
AEG, they're pretty big.
Hubbard.
Yeah, Hubbard's
this
fantastic.
Is kind of tangential, especially since we need to finish fairly soon. I want to get back to the point of why a subscription model. Why did you choose to go down that way?
Yeah, so I mean, I can't speak for the original intent of the CEO and the people who obviously designed it. But as I understand it, the subscription model allows us to, one, make the base product free, which just makes it much more accessible, which is really good for Kickstarters. And I think Tabletopia is actually the best platform for Kickstarters, because people don't need to own the software just to try out your game. So I think that's a really cool thing. And I think we just have a lot more overhead going, and especially because we work with the publishers to make sure that their games are official. We don't just let anyone throw a mod up there. And yes, that cuts out a lot of the numbers, If you go on Tabletop Simulator, there's thousands of games, but not all of them work. And that's kind of the struggle. Whereas all of our games are official and are made in conjunction with or are approved by the publishers. And so the subscription model allows us to sort of pay our staff, pay our marketing team, pay our graphic designer, and it allows us to have a consistent income and consistent flow of money that lets us keep enhancing the service and building it further. I mean, we've got coders who are currently working on some of the new features that'll be coming out next year, and they need to get paid money in the meantime. And so I think realistically, the subscription model gives us the benefit of offering a trial, but also allows us to further the company itself and further the business model itself. And also all of our premium games are revenue shared with the publishers. So that revenue share comes from premium subscribers only. So by being a premium member, you're also kind of pledging to support the industry as a whole, and really you're actively giving money to the people whose games it is, which I also think is a really nice thing.
And the interesting thing, I think, is that as a player, I believe that Xate has some issues getting Tabletopia to work. I don't know if you can give any advice to Xate, maybe a link to some sort of tech support that...
Yeah, I mean, we have a knowledge base, which is help.tabletopia.com, which I will just link in the Twitch chat right there. But also, the other thing is...
Let me actually...
share it out to everyone. I forget that you...
Could you do it on private chat? Sorry.
Yes, sorry.
And I will paste it in.
Absolutely. Pop that right in. The other thing, that I would suggest is if you're playing Tabletopia through the browser, one thing that can happen is if you're using, say Chrome is your everyday browser that you're always using, once you've installed a lot of Chrome extensions and ad blockers, and you've got a lot of cached websites, you've got multiple tabs open, that can bog down Chrome's memory, which can be a bit buggy. So I would actually suggest trying a different browser. When I do my live streams, can't make your 2011 laptop better. Yeah, well, when I do my live streams, I always use Firefox because it's not my day-to-day browser, and it's completely stable when I do that, purely because I'm using a clean, like you said, cleanliness is the best thing, but I'm using a clean browser that's not bogged down with all my day-to-day use. That would be my big suggestion.
Or if someone's doing it in the browser, maybe downloading the app might be another way.
Yeah, that is another way. The Steam app is also a good alternative. And Steam's free to create an account, and it's free to download on Tabletopia. So that is another option you have. I would try it on a different browser or a different platform.
Yeah, not 87 tabs open.
No. Our hard limit's actually 86, sorry.
In all seriousness,
yeah.
Let's assume that let's kind of skip over the technical support thing. For the subscription model, the interesting thing is that if it is working as a player, one game at a time is kind of all you really need. Unless you're like, okay, let's leave this game. Okay, it's a long game. We'll come back to it tomorrow. And then, sure, there are premium games, but it's in the same way that on Board Game Arena, you do have a really good thing already there. With Tabletopia as a player, there is a really nice thing already there. And being able to say, as you said, hey, playtester, you don't need to buy anything. I don't need to buy a 4-pack or an 8-pack of Tabletop Simulator to then give it to you to make it worth it. It's
and that's the other thing, actually. If you want to have a game night with 5 people, you only need one person with a gold subscription to Tabletopia who can then just share the link to that premium game with everyone else, rather than buying the same software 5 times. So in that way, it can work out a bit cheaper.
And it's not like an Adobe subscription where you get 30 days and then that's it. Never again. It's like, okay, you've got this, sure, cut down features, but you do get that forever. And if that's enough for you, then great. I mean...
And the other thing is on Steam itself, you can buy certain premium games as one-off DLCs. So even if you stop paying for the premium subscription, you have full access to that specific game for life.
Alan's got a quick question. Is scripting parts of the upcoming offerings? It would be important for me if I were thinking of implementing games, I reckon.
Yeah, absolutely. Scripting's been a very requested feature, and that's something we're going to look at. The reason scripting wasn't there from the get-go is because we wanted to make it as intuitive and as user-friendly as possible for people who just want to get their game up there. But we are working on a suite of advanced features that will definitely include some scripting.
I want to make an observation that feel free to disagree with, or this is a bit of a value judgment. So I kind of feel like Tabletopia, as a player, it's going to be and as someone who's only working on one game, it's a lot nicer because you get this amazing stuff for free. But if you are a particular person, if you've got like a large number of things, and you're like, hey, I'm just I've got all these games going on at a time. I mean, potentially 10 games might not be enough for you.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. And we did have that with digital conventions where people had private demo tables and they needed more than 10 games. And so, again, for publishers where that is a requirement, we're more than happy to talk about solutions that make it accessible for you.
But games you can create is also the number of almost prototypes that you could have in your backpack. Like if we kind of use the analog of the real world thing to the modern day thing. So if someone has, 13 prototypes in their backpack, but they're not a proper publisher, it feels like for those people, Tabletopia might not be the best option.
That's completely fair, and I think it's absolutely dependent on your needs. I think Tabletopia's backend is a lot more intuitive than Tabletop Simulators, but if you need certain features that require that iterative process in a workflow that doesn't sit with how Tabletopia works, then that's completely fair. I mean, you have options, of course. You could have every iteration of a certain card effect set aside, and then just only pull out the ones you need in the one game setup. So you definitely have options you can work with, which can be fiddly or could not be fiddly depending on how you get it to work. So there's definitely space to do iterative work on Tabletopia as a small publisher.
Do you think that there will be features, for example, mid-game changes that you might add to Tabletopia, not for the games that are actually published, but for the games that are just being done in the workshop, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do know what you mean. And that's something we'll absolutely look at. It's been requested as well. And I think that's the ability to just spawn a cube or spawn a card while you're in a game that other people can manipulate. I think that's absolutely, I think it's on our list. We've got a spreadsheet somewhere, but that's definitely on our list.
Out of curiosity, how big is this list? And
it's scroll. It's big. We have a lot of requested features, and we try and prioritize the ones that'll improve the experience for the largest amount of people. And so we definitely want to add these changes, but we want to create value that helps everyone the most. Yeah, a sandbox mode. Yeah, that would be something cool.
Basically, what I'm talking about.
Yeah, definitely.
Where you can just say, okay, we need 20 more of these things. It's like the equivalent of in the old days, by which I mean in January, when I used to be able to go to Royal Festival Hall and just say, oh, wait, we need a few more of these cards. Okay, let's scribble some things halfway through the game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. That makes complete sense. Yeah.
Look, I feel like we've talked about the benefits of a subscription model. I mean, it feels like the main benefits of the subscription model from the user perspective are indirect. Like, if you're looking at it purely from how much money do I get to how much value, then, and you're going to stick with something for a long time, quite often the subscription model turns out to not be the cheapest one.
Of course,
but indirectly, I totally get what you're saying about it affording the company the opportunity to make further changes. It kind of feels, would you draw an analogy to Patreon or something like that, where people are paying because they're supporting the platform and the future of it? So,
I think I would draw the analogy closer to, say, Spotify or, say, Netflix, where it's a subscription service that gives you access to a broad catalog rather than paying one-off for individual items. And so by paying that subscription service, you're constantly having access to that ever-evolving and ever-changing and ever-expanding catalog, which, I think is a better analogy than, it gives you access to this full catalog of games and this full suite of games.
And Paul, I think, has a feature request. I'm not sure what
quicker scrolling. Okay. All right. Yeah, I'll see what we can do about that.
Not sure exactly.
Make sure you're using your custom camera controls. If you press Shift 1 through 9, you can set custom camera angles. Then you can just recall them by pressing the numbers 1 through 9 at any time. Those are a really handy way to navigate around the screen.
Yeah, because then you can go boom, boom, boom.
Exactly.
Like,
it's really cool. It's like in the Matrix. You just like zoom around. And the really cool thing about that is you can like set, oh, I'm going to look at my player board quite often. Shift 1. That is my 1 camera angle. I'm going to look at the shared market quite often. That's number 2. Shift 2. And then I can just switch between them back and forth. Zoom, zoom, zoom. It's really cool.
Yeah, and maybe have like a cool 3D thing, because you know it's 3D, and what's the point in that if you're not going to have a 3D camera angle?
Yeah, you got to make use of it.
So yeah, it feels like we've had a nice chat. I hope. I want to say, yeah, does anyone else have any questions? All respectful questions for the next 5 minutes are welcome and encouraged. You know, everyone knows where the line is. Like, we're not here to talk about sex. We're here to talk about pricing on Tabletopia. I mean, I don't think the two things...
I don't think they're related, no.
But look, if anyone has any questions, then please pass them on and we will get to them. Do you have anything else that you want to say on this topic of
you know, board games are such a weird thing. You've had Steve D on before, is that correct? From Tin Star Games? Yeah, Steve Darlington, he's lovely. But he said something on Twitter that resonated with me a long time ago, which was board games are both severely overpriced and severely underpriced. And it's true, because if you think about it, for consumers, board games are, you know, it's like $110 or $80 just for a bunch of cardboard and some cards. That's ridiculous. But at the same time, they're severely underpriced for all the work that a designer does, that an artist does, that the publisher does, that like the amount of, I mean, you talked about how you've got a deck of cards and that's 5 games in one. And that's not just a bunch of cardboard, that's a bunch of effort and time put into the rules, put into playtesting, prototyping, put into marketing, as you said. And I mean, there's all these things that go into board games, which just make it this really, really odd hobby in terms of the amount of input and how much that's valued.
It is a difficult thing because obviously, as you say, there is so much invisible effort. Alex has a question. Are you allowed to share what kind of revenue the premium games earn?
Yeah, absolutely. So you can actually look at the algorithm on our help website that was linked before. But basically, the revenue share is a 70% share to the publisher's way of the number of hours a premium user spends playing their game, divided by the amount that they pay for that premium service for the duration of the month. And so the more specific formula is in that help section. It's not hidden or anything. We're very open about that. But that's the basic breakdown of it. The number of premium users, the amount of time they play your game, versus how much it costs them per month. And yeah, there it is. There's our license summary.
So you've got the sorts of value breakdown, but I think Alex was talking in absolute numbers, not for a specific game, but could you say what something that's like in the median, what it might have earned in the past month?
Yeah, so it's really interesting. On Tabletopia, we have a there's sort of there's sort of a disparity between the top earners and then everyone else. It's kind of a weird thing. If you're one of the big mega hits, you will get a consistent revenue. Like, let me just find a number for you. Which so
it's like one of those long tail things where the top 2% are making this much.
Absolutely, it really is a reflection of the real world. But no, the top earners will get. It depends. It depends on the game. I know some games get about 250 US a month. Some games will get about 400 US a month. And then like you have sort of the middling tier, which can be like between 80 to 200 a month. I mean, yeah, it sort of varies depending on the games. And also, but the other thing to be aware of is with premium games, we try and make sure that when you are going to make your game premium, it is already well known, and that's purely for the fact we don't want to waste your time and our time by having you only earn 2 cents a month. You know, I mean that serves no one any value.
Yeah, there's a lot of people on Twitch where when I was considering should I go affiliate, should I not?
Yeah.
Like I actually looked it up, and so many people are saying, you know what, I went to affiliates, and then it took me like 6 months to even get my first payout.
Yep.
Which,
absolutely.
what's the point in that? And these were people who were streaming all the time. And
I kind of want to take back our affiliate, to be honest.
Yeah, and I looked up, can you ever take it back? And as far as I could find out, no, you cannot.
That's right. I have to break the terms of service if I want to lose affiliate, apparently. Which is really odd because
but might you not be banned from Twitch altogether?
I think you would be, yes. Which would be
in which case what you need to do is change the name of your account and make a new account with the name.
Yeah, which will just lose me all my subscribers, so I don't want to do that. But I miss being able to stream to multiple platforms at once. That was really nice, like you're doing right now.
Yeah.
And
obviously that now we've got Lex. Sorry, I think this is Nick who. Hello, Nick. Thank you for joining us. Is there a program for fixing known problems? Who goes on to clarify. One, for example, there is a weird glitch when rotating hex tiles by pressing Q or E. It works fine in 3 sides of the table, but misrotates when used if viewed from the western side. I flagged this with Ivan back in June, but the problem persists.
Okay, so yeah, that may be something where you want to email support@tabletopia.com, and they'll have a more and also tell them the specific game it's happening. Is this happening in every game? Because that's very interesting. But if that's happening with a specific game, it may just be due to how the hexes are created in that certain game.
So I don't know what email you used, Nick, but that's support@tabletopiagames.com.
Support@tabletopia.com, which I've just shared for you to share out.
Thank you.
Yes, Tabletopia, as Paul said, Tabletopia rotation is based on the angle of the current view. So, for example, if something is set where pressing Q or E rotates it 90 degrees, but then you view something at a 45-degree angle, it'll only rotate 45 degrees the first time you press it to get it to the next increment. Then it'll start rotating at 90 degrees. Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like
no. Ivan is our marketing manager, and he may have passed it on to the support team, but definitely flag it with the support team if they.
This is even as a one-person thing. I can sort of, sympathize that things do get lost through the cracks as one person trying to take care of everything. And
oh my gosh,
I know it's not the best situation, but I guess it is what it is almost.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
obviously we can it sounds like Ivan really should have sent that to the support team.
It's entirely possible he did, but again, I mean, I'm still catching up on emails from before Spiel, so it's there's a lot of things to catch up on when you're a team like this.
And there's obviously
that's fair.
Different opinions. This is where, given that we're at the 80 minutes mark, and I promised to finish at 85 minutes.
Yes.
I want to start recapping and wrapping up, you're very welcome, Nick. So
Thank
we
you.
did have a really good chat. I think we obviously started off with the Sillier stuff. We talked about Tams and cleanliness and Rhino Hero and Say What and Pandemic Legacy Season 0. We talked about where the money goes. We talked about tech supports and having those multiple ways to play, that you can play it on your mobile phone. And you can, play it in your browser, which is actually pretty cool for those people who can just be like, boom, I'm playing it in my browser. This is so easy. But also that it does fund what will hopefully be an ongoing improvement to the thing. We talked about the education. We talked about, trying to have those quality games. Then we talked a little bit about the support, and we talked a little bit about the numbers. And thank you for being so candid of the actual absolute numbers that those premium games are making.
Absolutely. And can I shout out something
absolutely
very quickly? So this is not at all connected to Tabletopia, but it's just something I really. So Scott, do you know Scott Minerva, who's the
Yes.
Yeah. So Scott Minerva has currently got Swatch, which is on Kickstarter right now. It's got about 7 hours to go. Scott actually posted on Twitter yesterday that he's been made redundant from his job, unfortunately, and Swatch is going to be one of his only forms of income for the foreseeable future. The game's only got 7 hours to go, but it looks gorgeous, and I think if you can, and if it's a game that you'd like to support, I think it is something that you should lend your support to, because it would also really help him out personally.
Yeah, that's a good shout out.
Yeah.
Scott's is lovely.
Yeah.
Do you have anything more to say in the next minute about pricing or anything, Mark?
Not that I can add. No, I think I'm pretty content, and I think I would love to have. I'd love to have further conversations if people want to hit me up on Twitter. I mean, last time you and I had a Twitter thread going about it, one of our chats, it devolved into lawyers having a go at game designers. So that was heated, but I welcome the feedback.
No, I think it was very respectful still.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was with Dominic Krapushitz and Isaac Shalev. Lovely people, both of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I want to say thank you to everyone who's been watching along. Thank you for contributing all your comments and questions and everything. If you want to follow me, I'm StuffByBez everywhere except for Facebook. And please join my Discord. StuffByBez.com/Discord will redirect you to the Discord. And there is a cat chat where please share your pictures of any cats. No rats, I'm sorry.
No. That's okay. Okay.
Like, you can talk about rats in the idle chat, but not in the cat chat.
That's fine. That makes sense. I respect that.
For 3 minutes, I want to say, over to you. What are you up to? You can share anything you want to. So what's something you're looking forward to? Hopes, ambitions?
Oh my gosh. Hopes, ambitions, and dreams. The thing I'm most looking forward to is brunch. So for those who don't know, Melbourne, Victoria, Australia, we just came out of, or we're starting to come out of, one of the hardest COVID lockdowns in the world. I think France was the only one a bit more restrictive than us. And so it's been a long time. But the thing I just missed the most was just getting my laptop, going to a restaurant, sitting there, having a coffee, having maybe an Eggs Benedict. Oh my God, I'm going to get an Eggs Benedict tomorrow. And just answering my morning emails. And it's just so refreshing. And it's a lovely way to start the day. But I haven't been able to do that because all of retail, all of hospitality has been closed for about 5 months. The actual length of the lockdown combined was 8 months, but we had two separate lockdowns that sort of came in and out. But it's been really hard. I mean, we've only been allowed to leave the house for 4 reasons. But fortunately, we are now down to about 2 cases a day. So I'm really grateful it happened. But my God, I missed brunch. I need my smashed avocado.
That is totally fair.
Yeah.
And so if anyone else has anything that they want to share, then please do so. What I am looking forward to is having more tidiness. I am going to be having a business meeting, I think, yeah, chatting to Spiral Galaxy, trying to get some, because for a while I was doing all my own fulfillments because I wanted to draw cats on everyone's stuff. I'm still going to do that for Categorical, I think, but that might be the last ever Kickstarter I self-fulfill, because I'm going to take a big step back. That's part of my big announcement that I'll be sharing in the next week.
I got my own avocado. I got takeaway. I got takeaway eggs Benny and takeaway avocado toast, but it's not the same eating it at my computer desk. I just want to eat outside, nice sun, laptop, fresh coffee, just, you know, like with a real mug. What? Not a plastic one. That's such a novel concept to me. Today I went into a retail store and browsed for the first time in 5 months. It was really weird. But because just in time for Halloween, just bought a pumpkin spice flavored candle. So I'm actually rather happy with that.
So as we wind down, the final thing I like to do is suggest that we potentially raid somewhere, and I'm going to, should we do a board gaming thing because I see that Loserpalooza is on, or should we do a music thing because I see that Amadeus and Piano Man Dom are on?
Let's see who's Loserpalooza are on. Stuff by Bez is on. I don't know if they're
so music or board games.
Let's go with music today.
Okay.
We could all use the music in our life.
So we are going to be going with Piano Man Dom because we rated. I'll let the guest decide, which means we've got future streams. I am going to be who did I say I was chatting to? Tomorrow I'm chatting to Dina about Instagram photography, and then 8 p.m. UK time tomorrow is WellyCon, the first physical convention for quite a while based in New Zealand. And the only thing left to do now is to say bye, 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 bye. This is a bye-bye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, 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 bye. And now it's time to go. Bye, 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 bye. This is a bye-bye song. Bye, 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 bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye, 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 bye. This is the end of the show. Bye, bye, bye,
bye, bye.
And now it's time to go.
Right, go.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye. Have a good raid and see you around. Thank you for joining.